Zoinks! Scooby and the Mystery Inc. gang have tackled crooks in masks and real-life monsters, in mini-series and in movies. And they met a lot of people along the way, from magicians to friendly gothic punk rockers. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the more popular direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies and see where these characters fall on our good to evil spectrum. Unfortunately, since there are well over 30 movies so far, we can't cover them all. So, just to get this out of the way, movies such as WWE or other crossovers will be among those that will not be included. With all that said, grab your Scooby snacks and come join us. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Scooby-Doo Movies, Good to Evil. As usual, we'll start with our most noble and honorable characters and work our way down to the most evil. These characters do more than just share their Scooby snacks. These characters are the good. The gold medal of good goes to the Hex Girls. Introduced in Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, Thorn, Luna, and Dusk are first seen rehearsing for the Oak Haven Festival. And while they're suspects for a short time, Thorn is able to help the gang in sealing Sarah Ravencroft's ghost after it was released. The Hex Girls reappear in Legend of the Vampire, where they're captured to prevent them from performing at the music festival. After Scooby and the others are able to save them, they allow the gang to perform with them in their musical number. While we wish the Hex Girls got more screen time, the fact that they look out for each other and Scooby and the gang, and help get rid of a major threat are reasons enough for this reward. For our silver medal of good, we're giving it to a duo of love interests from Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, Crystal and Amber. When they find Shaggy and Scooby unconscious in the desert, Crystal and Amber are able to help them out before giving Shaggy and Scooby a ride back to town. Later in the movie, Crystal and Amber reveal that they're government agents and convince Shaggy and Scooby to investigate the mining operation that they uncovered. When Shaggy and Scooby are about to be captured, however, is when Crystal's and Amber's true forms are revealed. They are government agents, but from another planet, and are able to save Scooby and Shaggy. When the time comes for Crystal and Amber to leave for their home planet, they offer a heartfelt goodbye to Shaggy and Scooby. While they share the issue with the Hex Girls as not having a whole lot of screen time, we also wish that all other galactic visitors would be as kind and helpful as Crystal and Amber. The bronze medal of good goes to Shaggy and Scooby. These chowheads have been through thick and thin and support both themselves and their friends. And while Shaggy and Scooby can be kind of cowardly, they also do their part in helping solve whatever mystery they're involved in. Sure, they've had some blunders, such as uncovering Morgan Moonscar's corpse and seemingly bringing him to life in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. But they've also really come through, like saving a lot of people from a bursting dam in Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. And despite that they've encountered numerous monsters and baddies for years but are still willing to help out, even though they're facing their fear, we feel like they are more than deserving of this medal. Next is the brains behind the gang, Velma. More often than not, Velma is usually the first member of Mystery Inc. to solve the mystery. However, Velma can be a bit close-minded. A prime example being her refusing to acknowledge the events on the plantation on Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island being real until later in the movie. But as all other mysteries prior to this, where the monsters were revealed as nothing more than people in costumes, it's understandable why she's hard to convince. In Scooby-Doo Where's My Mummy, Velma is actually revealed to be the ghost of Cleopatra, but she does this to protect the treasure. We're happy that Velma has grown to be more open-minded and is a great friend and teammate. But it's Velma's occasional stubbornness that causes her to barely miss on receiving a good medal. Next is Vincent Van Ghoul. As he was introduced in the 1980 series, The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, it's only fitting that he finds his way into the Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost, serving as the series' conclusion. Even though Vincent can come across as harsh on occasion, he's genuinely helpful in tracking down the ghost that escaped from the chest of demons. After meeting up with Scooby and his friends once again, Vincent helps in attempting to capture the 13th Ghost, Asmodeus, going so far as to fight him as well as helping the gang escape. After the ghost Vincent fights is revealed to be the disguise of the movie's villain, he catches sight of the real Asmodeus before the ghost transforms into Vincent's ancestor, Azimod. Comforted by his ancestor looking out for him as well as his friends, Vincent is last seen bidding Scooby and the gang goodbye. While it's highly unlikely that he will make a reappearance, Vincent has made a lasting impression and is a great ally and friend to Scooby and the gang. Daphne is next. Unlike the young woman she was in the original Scooby-Doo cartoons, Daphne has made massive steps in growing as a person. While she does have the habit of still getting captured from time to time, Daphne is far more proactive in helping solve mysteries and helping out others. She's more open to the possibility of things not always having a rational explanation and is willing to look for a backdoor solution if it's needed. And like we said, unlike how she was in the original cartoon, Daphne is no longer the damsel in distress type. Instead, Daphne has learned how to fight, using her self-defense skills to also protect others, such as in Scooby-Doo and the Samurai Sword. She can come across as vain and might fall into a trap once in a while. With all the growth Daphne has made, she more than deserves her placement here. Next is a textbook example of a red herring, Bo from Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. During the movie, Bo is seemingly just an incredibly grumpy gardener working on the plantation. Once Scooby and Mystery Inc. start seeing ghosts and zombies both inside the mansion and out, both Fred and Velma are convinced that Bo is behind all the events. However, he's able to save Velma from stepping in the quicksand and accompanies Daphne, Velma, and Fred into the mansion's basement after being told that Simone had been captured. After the villains are defeated, Bo reveals that he'd been brought onto the island to investigate the disappearances. We don't agree with his initial attitude towards others, but since Bo was under pressure to solve the case, we're giving him a free pass, and hopefully his life is zombie-free from now on. Velma's younger sister Madeline from Abracadabra Doo is next. Who doesn't love magic? When Mystery Inc. visits a school where Madeline is studying to be a magician, they discover that a giant griffin has been causing trouble for Madeline and the other students. Unlike her older sister, Madeline is a very extroverted young woman and is pretty open about her crush on Shaggy. While they do butt heads once in a while, Velma and Madeline have a sisterly bond and love one another. Madeline is unfortunately captured by the griffin, but once she's freed, Madeline learns the truth behind the griffin and the attacks on her school. Madeline is last seen performing her magic show with Daphne helping. Even though she only appears in one movie, Madeline's relationship with both Velma and the other Mystery Inc. members, plus the fact that she's very passionate about her school, gives Madeline major points. Next is the leader of Mystery Inc., Fred. Alright, Fred is a good guy, that goes without saying, but why is the leader of Mystery Inc. below his friends? Well, even though he's the head of the mystery-solving group, Fred is the one who comes across as the most hard-headed. Like Velma, Fred is incredibly reluctant to believe that the events during Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island are real. And this isn't the only time Fred does not acknowledge real supernatural happenings he's encountering, such as in Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, where he thinks the monsters encountered in the final level of the game would be costumes. That, plus Fred kind of takes his friends for granted. We realize that the role of a leader is assigning roles and taking charge, but we also think that Fred should realize how much Shaggy and Scooby hate being assigned as bait, as well as not always listening to what others have to say. Finishing the category, we have Flim Flam from The Curse of the 13th Ghost. As a conclusion of the 1980 series, The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, Flim Flam has a history with Scooby and his friends. While he's an absolute opportunist by creating merchandise of the Chest of Demons, Flim Flam is also willing to help out the gang when the supposed 13th ghost, Asmodeus, is back. After the ghost's true identity is revealed, Flim Flam decided to stay in his hometown, telling others about the legend of the ghost. As his name implies, Flim Flam can be a con artist, but where his friends are concerned, he's mainly on the level and is a pretty good person at heart. And that does it for our good Scooby-Doo characters. Now we're going to descend into neutral territory. This is the gray area. Starting the category, we're actually going to give it to a movie villain who's actually a pretty decent guy, the Goblin King from Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King. After his daughter is captured, the Goblin King is shown to be willing to be anything to rescue her. And while his name alone does invoke fear in whoever hears it in the magical world, the Goblin King also cares for his subjects. He goes to the extreme of both capturing Shaggy and Scooby, but he only does this out of fear when they go after his scepter. He's also willing to give Kretsky all of his power to save his daughter. And while being a parent who's willing to save their child, no matter the cost, is a quality anyone should have, surrendering his power could have caused widespread harm. Next is Little Jim from Aloha Scooby-Doo. When he's first introduced, Little Jim comes across as closed-minded, as he wants to keep the annual surfing festival to only those who live on the island. After Wiki Tiki begins sabotaging the event, Little Jim is a suspect for being the monster, as Mystery Inc. believes he's trying to scare away some of the participants. However, once he sees someone in danger from the Wiki Tiki, Little Jim does not hesitate in saving them, despite disagreeing with them being there. After the villain is revealed to be a friend of his, Little Jim becomes more accepting of those from other walks of life and grows into a better person. While being prejudiced is never great, we're awarding Little Jim the top of the gray area for realizing how negative his mindset was and growing from it. Next is Willow from Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King. Since she's the daughter of the titular Goblin King, it goes without saying that Willow is powerful magically. However, she's rebellious and causes trouble both intentionally and accidentally. One of Willow's biggest mistakes is using the Goblin Scepter to tease Krutsky, only for the villainous magician to take control of it to rule the world. While Willow is not actively attempting to cause harm, we have to take into account the damage that happened due to some of her actions. She's genuinely remorseful though, and we feel comfortable by assuming that she learned from her mistakes and will be more careful when using her magic in the future. And finally, we're gonna look at those monsters and baddies that will do more than just give Mystery Inc. a scare or two. These characters are the bad to evil. Kicking off the category, we have Marlin from Abracadabra-Doo. Unlike other villains and monsters in Scooby-Doo, Marlin is more than content in working behind the scenes to bring down his brother's magician school. And while he does have the Griffin puppet he created kidnap Madeline and cause damage to the school, Marlin does this to have the opportunity to become famous. And while chasing your dreams is a quality to be admired, we gotta question the extremes that Marlin went to. Next is Mortifer, aka Asmodeus. Asmodeus makes numerous attempts to steal the chest of demons, and until Mortifer is unmasked, Scooby and his friends believe that he wishes to reopen the chest to release the other ghost and gain power. Thankfully, both for Scooby and the world at large, Mortifer is simply looking to sell the chest for a small fortune. And while we're grateful that he really didn't have any other plans than just getting a quick buck, seeing how dangerous the chest of demons can be, among his other actions, Mortifer absolutely deserves his spot here. The Bronze Medal of Evil goes to Bill from Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. At first glance, Bill seems like a pretty friendly and helpful college student. He watches Mystery Inc.'s progress after they get zapped into the computer game. Unfortunately for Bill, as Scooby and his friends are making their way throughout the game, they're able to uncover clues, which point them in the direction of Bill's guilt as being the one who sent them into the game in the first place. In addition to kidnapping Mystery Inc., Bill directly puts Scooby and his friends in great danger as they faced real monsters and enemies within the game. After his actions are uncovered, once Mystery Inc. are freed from the game, Bill shows no remorse, only expressing annoyance that his game was not chosen for the showcase. The Silver Medal of Evil goes to Ben and Sarah Ravencroft from Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Much like Bill, Ben seems to be a pretty decent guy, accompanying Mystery Inc. during their investigation of the Witch's Ghost. Ben isn't the only one who's able to disguise himself in a more positive way, as he's able to convince Mystery Inc. that his ancestor Sarah was a healer, as a way to get them to help look for her lost book. Once the book is uncovered, Ben and Sarah reveal themselves of being a witch and warlock respectively. While Ben is looking to use their magic to rule the world, Sarah is more the burn the world to ashes type of villain. Well, neither plan really has a chance to shine. Sarah is able to capture Ben due to his attitude, and while she nearly does kill Mystery Inc., Thorn from the Hex Girls is able to seal both Sarah and Ben back into the book. While world domination is never great, the fact that we really don't get to see it, unlike our Gold Medal of Evil winners, is what lands them slightly above our last entrant. The Gold Medal of Evil goes to Simone, Jocks, and Lena from Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. As Simone and Lena live on Zombie Island, it might be a surprise that they haven't moved away to a safer area. And while they both come across as pretty friendly hostesses, and Jocks as a kind fairy captain, their true colors are discovered during the climax. They reveal themselves to be cat-like creatures who've been attacking both residents of the island as well as luring outsiders to the plantation to drain their life force. And judging by the number of zombies that Scooby and his friends encounter, Simone, Lena, and Jocks have murdered hundreds, if not thousands. To say that we're relieved that they turned to dust would be an understatement. And that wraps up our morality spectrum. Let's finish it off by handing out some center medals. As he considers himself the de facto leader of Mystery Inc., we feel like Fred is a pretty good candidate for the Pride Award. For our Envy Award, we're giving it to Marlin, as he caused a good amount of trouble just because he was jealous. We're giving the Lust Award to Madeline, as her crush on Shaggy is not subtle. While she's far from stupid, we're giving the Darwin Award to Willow, just because we feel like she would have realized teasing an obviously evil guy with a powerful magic object is a terrible idea. If only we had a good contender for our Gluttony Award. But we just can't think of anyone who has less of passion for food. Oh, yeah, wait a second. How can we forget Shaggy and Scooby? From craving food to craving extended life, our Greed Award goes to Simone, Jox, and Lena, as they literally suck out the life force of others for their own benefit. And that does it for our Scooby-Doo movies, Good to Evil. Let us know in the comments below what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our other Wicked Binge videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.